Once I learned how to set boundaries, my life changed completely. I know for many people pleasers, it's really hard to put yourself first and choose yourself, but it's time to do it because your life will change completely. In today's video, I'm going to break down what boundaries are, what kind of boundaries you need, how they are affecting your life if you have them and if you don't have them, and how to start setting boundaries if you don't have ones already. So let's begin. I'm ready with the coffee here, a bunch of water, because I know I'll need it, and we're gonna break everything down. It's a very important topic because it's crucial for personal development, for emotional well-being, for living a good life, and also in career, but we'll get into it soon. So let me first share with you my personal story and how everything started. And this is how it has started for you, I believe, as well. When I was a little kid, almost every single parent is teaching us to be a good girl or a good boy. So my mom has always told me, and also to my sisters, that we should be obedient and that we should be good girls. We should listen to adults. We should obey to what other people are saying to us. And I'm not saying that it's wrong, but it's wrong when you don't give contexts to, and when you don't explain when it's good to be a good girl, when it's good to be obedient, and when you are not supposed to be obedient and you should step up and share your thoughts, share your opinion, and share what you feel comfortable with or what you don't feel comfortable with. So most of us would correlate boundaries as being rude or being selfish, because majority of people, whenever you try to set a boundary, you're limiting them. So that's why they like to make you feel like you're rude or you're selfish. And as human beings, we are afraid of rejection. We are afraid of being alone. Because we are meant to be together. And when this survival mechanism kicks in, we don't want to make other people disappointed. We don't want to cause a fight. We don't want to get rejected. And we choose to stay small. We choose to just agree to whatever other people are doing to us or saying to us. But guess what? You are just disrespecting yourself. You are just giving away your precious energy, and you are letting other people to control your life, to control your decisions, to control how you feel. So if you want to take control over your life, over your emotional well-being, over your professional well-being, in every single area of your life, you will have to set boundaries. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are rules or opinions that are telling to the world how to treat you based on how you're treating yourself. So boundaries tell to the world how to treat you based on how you're treating yourself. And there are multiple types of boundaries, such as emotional, energetic, time-related boundaries, physical boundaries, even digital boundaries. So we have multiple different types of boundaries. And they are not walls. It's not that we are just putting a wall in front of us. They are just filters. So by us understanding what is important for us and what we would like to compromise and what we wouldn't like to compromise, that's how we filter what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So, for example, let's talk about emotional boundaries first. When I was a kid, or when I was even a teenager and before I healed my trauma from people pleasing, and most of the times it's the fixer archetype or the people pleaser that is having hard time setting boundaries. And most of the times whenever I try to set boundaries, someone would tell me you're overreacting, or come on, I was just joking, that's not a big thing, like what kind of humor do you have? So someone would make joke about me, but this joke wouldn't be a pleasant one. So there is difference from a joke to a joke. And when someone is joking with me in a way that they're trying to put me down and they make it like I'm overreacting, this is people crossing my boundaries. And before, I was a type of person who would just pull myself back. And now I learned to make the other person uncomfortable instead of me being the one hiding. Because why would I hide? It's when someone is trying to put you down through a joke, there is nothing that you should be ashamed of. The person that is doing that should get ashamed. So something that I started doing now when someone is trying to make a joke about me and with that putting me down, I start questioning them. What do you mean? And when you ask them, what do you mean? And you ask them to explain what they mean by that, they start like, they start feeling uncomfortable. They realize that, oh shit, I messed up. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or when they start saying, come on, you're overreacting, you have to learn to say that this is not funny for me. Maybe it's funny for you, but it's not funny for me. And I never want you to use such kind of jokes about myself in the future. I was also talking about you not making jokes of yourself, because it's very important what kind of language you're using to yourself or with yourself. This is kind of revealing also what kind of language you're allowing other people to use to yourself. So by how we are treating ourselves, that's how we're teaching others to treat us. The emotional boundaries are mainly coming from fear. The lack of emotional boundaries are mainly coming from fear of dismissal, rejection, or assumption, assuming that someone is thinking something but that might not be true. By also emotional dumping. So for example, if someone is going through a hard time and they're just thinking about their own needs, they would call you. For example, a friend is going through a breakup and they would call you and they will just start sharing everything that has happened to them without even asking you, hey, how are you? Do you have a minute? I need to talk to someone. What if you're going through an even more difficult situation than this person? But in this case, if you allow to that person to just share all their problems with you and you just collect their problems, guess what? You allowed them to cross your boundary. So next time when someone is trying to cross your emotional boundary and add more problems to your own problems, just tell them, hey, I understand that you are not feeling really well, but I'm also going through some hard time. So I need my time. Let's talk about this another day. And that's it. You don't have to explain what's going on. And you don't even have to have something going on in your life. If you just feel that this is something that is taking energy from you, if you're feeling that this is something that is exhausting you, that is not worth your time, you can politely reject a person. So with this, you're not rude. You're just choosing yourself. You're choosing your energy. And protecting your energy is the most important thing for each and every single one of us. Because our energy is the most precious thing that we have. It's the energy that helps us to create things. It's the energy that helps us to be able to pay attention to what's important. It's the energy that helps us to feel good. It's the energy that is raising our frequency. So if we are giving away our energy, we are disrespecting ourselves. If we're giving away our energy, this means that we're telling to the universe that we are not that important. And if you're telling to the universe that you're not that important, that your needs are not important, guess what? No one else will think that your needs are important. And no one is supposed to understand or assume your boundaries. You will have to verbally express them if you see that someone cannot understand them. This is another mistake that I used to do before. I would assume that since I'm an empathic person, that other people are also empathic and that they're supposed to do what I'm doing for them. But that's not how people are. You start understanding that the more psychology you learn and the more you analyze human behavior. So it's better to set the boundaries rather than to expect other people to understand your boundaries. Sometimes you can show them, you don't have to say them verbally, but you will have to show to people that's how far you're allowed to go. You cannot cross this line. Because you have to choose yourself, you have to say yes to yourself, you have to think of your energy and your emotional well-being and physical well-being. Because there are other types, like I mentioned that there are many types of boundaries, and some people might think that a boundary is just what someone is telling to you, but they are physical boundaries, they are mental, they are time-related boundaries, they are material boundaries, someone borrowing something and destroying it before they return it back. So for example, a friend would come and they would ask you to borrow a car, and you are taking care of your car, but your friend returns this car completely messy with a bunch of garbage. That's disrespectful, and that's crossing your boundary. Maybe for you. For me, it would be crossing my boundary. For someone else, it might not be important. But I believe that if you're taking care of your car, you will, of course, expect and you will want another person to take care of your car as well. If you don't care if your car is messy, you might not mind if your friend will return your car messy. So it's all about first understanding what are the things that I value the most. What are the things that I don't want to compromise? Once you understand the things that you value, the things that you don't want to compromise, the things that are important for you, also to understand what are the things that are giving me energy and what are the things that are draining energy from me. Once you understand all these things, you will be able to set very clear boundaries, no matter what it's related to. And the same thing applies to people. You should, once you understand what kind of values and what kind of things you don't want to compromise, you should start analyzing what are the people that are already today crossing my boundaries, and how can I prepare myself to start setting micro boundaries and teaching them that they are no longer allowed to act the way they did until now. Because once you start setting boundaries, of course people will react. They're used to you saying yes to them all the time. They're used to you not showing any kind of rejection, and they're not used to hearing no. And all of a sudden you're changing, and they will of course react, oh, that's not really how she is. Why is she doing this way? So people will at first react. They might make you feel uncomfortable, but you have to go through this short-term discomfort in order to enjoy the long-term benefit from you starting to choose yourself, setting yourself first, and setting boundaries. So the types of boundaries, as I mentioned, it's emotional. And when you set emotional boundaries, also think of even topics that are very sensitive for you that you don't want to talk about with others. You can think of how much people are allowed to share or not share. How much of your emotional energy are people allowed to consume? So, for example, once I healed my previous trauma, my childhood trauma, I need more alone time. And before, when I lacked boundaries, my mom would get into my room and she would say, "Oh, here is your nephew. Take care of him. I have to do this. I have to do that." So when she would see me reading a book, I would just drop the book and I would go and do whatever she asked me to do, or something else. Maybe she would send me to go to the supermarket or whatever. So now I know that I need solo time. I need time to read books. I need time to recharge. I need time to go to a lake that we have nearby the house where my parents live. And before, I would just do whatever she asked me to do. Now I would just say, first of all, you have to knock on my door. Second, you have to ask me, are you available? Not just, here is a task, you'll have to do it. Because having this me time, spending time to learn new things, to read books, to invest in myself, because reading books and investing in and gathering knowledge is an investment in myself. That's what is helping me to become a better decision maker. That's what is helping me to understand the world, businesses, how humans operate. Almost everything that I've learned, apart from life experiences, is coming from books. So for me, it's something important. And now my family knows that I have time when I'm reading and I don't want to get distracted. And but it's important to share that with your family, with your close ones, with your partner, even with colleagues. For example, I have shared with one person that I'm working with quite often that I don't like when someone is putting pressure and stress on me. So when we first talked about me consulting them and helping their company, I told him clearly already on the first meeting, I don't want to be treated as an employee. I'm not going to be an employee. I will decide my time when I'm going to work. I want to have flexibility. If you accept those conditions, I can be your consultant and I can help you. If you don't accept those conditions, I'm not going to work with you. So the person accepted those conditions, and of course things get hectic sometimes, and when it doesn't cost me mental energy or emotional energy, and even sometimes my people pleaser comes out before I catch it, and after some time through journaling I realize, oh, some of my old patterns are starting to come back. I have to be more cautious. I have to rest a little bit more and set more time for myself so that I'm not going to fall back into putting other people's needs first before mine. So I would show up and help. And sometimes things can go a little bit out of control. They can become chaotic. And if I feel that it won't affect me much, I would help, because I'm a person who wants to help other people. And once I started helping a little bit extra, this person assumed or was just unaware that, or they started giving me extra tasks and extra responsibilities without asking me, is that okay for you? And they would get a little bit upset if I try to say, I helped now, but I don't want to help with this anymore. And I had to remind this person, this is what I said on the first meeting. And I want you to remember that. So even when it comes to time pressure, yes, I know that I have, I'm very optimistic when it comes to time, which makes that I'm late almost everywhere where I have to go. But at the same time, I also know that sometimes it's not my fault that I'm late, because when someone is giving you unrealistic time for you to get ready and to get from point A to point B, it's not your fault that you're late. It's their fault for their miscalculation of time. So let me give you an example. um, I would tell a person I have a podcast from this time to this time, and they would want me to be in the restaurant in 15 minutes after a whole day of recording without taking a break or anything like that. In such kind of situation, I will be late and I'm not crossing your boundaries. It's you not knowing how to organize your time. But let's say if I'm all the time late and this person is telling me, I really want you to respect my time. I really want you to show up on time because I have other meetings and XYZ, then that means that I'm disrespecting boundaries. So when it comes to, let's say, time-related boundaries, I know that I'm not a person that is strictly sticking to time, but when it's a booked online meeting, because I know that majority of people are now, that I at least work with, are working online and they have lots of meetings, I'm always on time on a meeting. And I'm always trying to keep things concise. I want to be straight on point. And it's not just black and white, oh, you're late and you're crossing my boundary. It's the context behind whatever you do is important. So for emotional boundaries, we have to decide how much energy we're allowing to other people to consume from us, and not to be afraid of other people being upset by us setting boundaries. Because people that will not understand your boundaries and will not understand that this is just them understanding what is important for you and respecting that, those are people that have been just using you for not having boundaries in place. And this also applies even in business with customers. If you don't know how to set boundaries with customers, they will drain you completely. They are, in every single business, there are customers that are paying very little but taking so much of your time, annoying you and demanding so much from you. You have the full right to get rid of such kind of customers immediately without thinking of, oh, I'm gonna earn less next month. Because the mental energy that they're taking from you and the emotional energy that they're taking from you is costing you much more. Because by giving them emotional and mental energy and time as well, you are missing on many other opportunities. So you have to have boundaries everywhere. And also physical boundaries. For example, it's completely fine to have things that you don't want to share with other people. It's completely fine not to be same as everyone else. For example, some people have easier to connect with other people. Other people need more time to connect and to allow someone to get closer to them for more intimate contact, for example. So many people, especially girls, are struggling to set physical boundaries, and that's why they get sexually abused. And of course, it's not only that reason. Sometimes it's just sadly out of their control. But many people struggle with physical boundaries. For example, I'm also a person that needs time before, and sometimes I don't even want to let some people to come closer to me. There is something about their energy that just makes me feel like I don't want this person to be closer than a meter or two to me. So it's completely fine for you to decide, yes, I'm willing to hug this person or shake a hand with this person, or I don't want to have any kind of connection with that person. So everyone should just respect whatever you feel. And you don't have to be arrogant, you don't have to be rude, you don't have to say, stop, don't do this. You can just say, sorry, but this doesn't make me feel comfortable. And that's it. You don't have to explain yourself. People that are trying to explain themselves are just doing that because of childhood programming, because they kind of feel that they have to explain because they care about how they make other people feel. But no one is responsible for other people's feelings. You're only responsible for your own feelings. Hello, Pradeep. So cool to see you here. So, what are the main reasons why you struggle setting boundaries? The main reasons for is, as I said, childhood programming, childhood conditioning, being the good girl or the good boy, and in order to keep peace. Because whenever you try to set a boundary, a narcissist or a person that is taking advantage of you not having boundaries in place will react. They will start a conflict. So, in the nervous system is trained for approval, for validation. If you haven't watched the video about where I talked about how society is programming us and how to create our dream life, I think the title was How to Create Your Dream Life in Less Than 12 Months, what kind of shift to make. So in this video, I was talking about how the educational system and society are teaching us already from childhood to seek validation and to seek approval, and to feel guilt when we say no and when we don't obey the teachers or we don't follow what adults are telling to us, which leads usually to fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and you start overgiving. And where is this fear of abandonment and fear of rejection coming from? Usually when you try to set a boundary as a kid, and if you have been with emotionally immature parents that haven't healed their traumas, which is majority of parents, because people didn't have access to as much information as we have nowadays. So I don't even blame them for not working on themselves and for not trying to heal their traumas and their early programming, their limiting beliefs. So majority of parents are unaware of their faults. And as kids, we would try to set a boundary. We would try, because a kid is always very clear about their boundaries. But a parent would start shouting on them and saying that they're spoiled, or they would give them a silent treatment. So, and this kind of makes the kid to learn that, oh, if I say no next time, a super simple example would be a kid that doesn't want to finish a kid that is full, they don't want to finish their food, and the mom would say, you have to do it, because I know there are moms that, my mom used to do it. You have to finish your food, you have to eat, you have to do this, you have to do that. And if you say no, if you don't obey them, they are going to give you a silent treatment, or they're going to punish you. And all of this is teaching you that saying no and disobeying, disagreeing, will disappoint people, will cause conflict. And that's teaching you not to listen to your needs, not to listen to what is making you comfortable, but to just obey and adapt on conditions on other people. Or in other words, it's teaching you to become a people pleaser and not to know how to set boundaries. In the course that I launched at the beginning of the last month, we are going through lots of things that can affect us, because it's not just one thing or another thing. It can be multiple things that can affect how you respond in life. And some people think that you might heal just in professional level, or just in fix one thing in trading, and have problems still on a personal level with relationships. But it's not working that way. Once you develop self-love, once you start understanding yourself, once you raise your self-awareness and you understand what's important for you, you understand your values, you will start setting these boundaries everywhere automatically. Because it won't be really you are scanning everything and thinking, oh, I'm going to have boundaries here, but I'm not going to have there. If you have hard time setting boundaries at home, this means that you're going to have hard time setting boundaries at work. This means that you're going to have hard time setting boundaries in friendships, everywhere. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's why you should not blame others for not treating you well. You should learn how to show people and how to teach people how to treat you. Because as I said at the beginning of the stream, boundaries are just ways, boundaries is showing to the world how to treat you based on how you're treating yourself. So understand yourself, understand what is important for you, what you value, what you don't want to compromise, and then start scanning every single place where you lack boundaries and practice before you go and set the boundaries, practice at home how you would approach the situation. Because when it's unfamiliar to the brain, when you are used to just say yes, 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 and not set any boundaries or not speak up about something that makes you feel uncomfortable, your brain will activate the amygdala will activate the fear response, fight, flight, or freeze. So you will have to come prepared. And the best thing to do, or the best thing to start with when you want to start practice to set boundaries, is starting with micro boundaries. So a simple example would be not responding to messages immediately. So I had a few people that would get upset or mad at me because I'm not picking up my phone. I'm not responding to their messages immediately when they need me. But as they are not available for me whenever I need them, that's how I don't have to be available for them when they need me. We all have the right to decide when we are available and when we are not available. And I really love being unavailable. I really love solo time because this is the time when I can raise my frequency and I can work on myself. If you don't have an unavailable time, people will drain you completely, and you will not even have time to analyze yourself and to understand what is important for you and what isn't important for you. Another thing would be someone inviting you somewhere and you don't really feel like going there. Before, I was the type of person who would say yes to every single event. Someone would invite me to a party. Someone would ask me to be responsible. When I was in Sweden, I used to be responsible for one penthouse, for the entire party, alcohol, everything possible. So I would say yes to go to the party. Then I would go to the penthouse where I was responsible for the private events that we were organizing. From there, a colleague would call me and they would say, hey, something came up, can you cover me on the shift? And then I would go and work a night shift. And what was I doing? I was sacrificing my health. I was sacrificing my sleep. I was not respecting my needs. I was not respecting myself. And everyone knew that whenever they need help, they just have to call me because I was saying yes to everything. And yeah, back then, they thought that I was a really good person. But what did I think about myself? I was not good to myself. I was good to everyone else, but not to myself. And what's the point? People will just use you. And when you're down, no one will be next to you. No one. You're going to be alone. And you're going to be even more disappointed because when you have been trained to think this way, you will expect that other people will show up for you. But that's just a trauma response. You should not feel disappointed. You should take an example from other people that know how to set boundaries so that you can set boundaries as well and protect yourself. Because you're an adult. You should not expect other people to protect you, to help you, and to lift you up. You are an adult and you'll have to, as you have allowed yourself to fall down, you'll have to learn how to get up. And you should not expect from other people to feel sorry about you or yes, it's good to get support, but it's the best thing to do is to raise yourself up by yourself without any support, because this is what is going to make you resilient. This is what is going to give you most experience and wisdom, so that you can know how to handle similar situations and even worse situations in the future. I always, in the course, I'm always giving examples of training your mental muscles like you're training your physical muscles. Whenever you try to grow your muscles and become stronger, you will have to lift the weights yourself. You're not asking your personal trainer to lift the weights for you. That's how it is in life as well. You will have to solve the problems yourself, not to expect other people to solve the problems for you. Or to assume that, or for you to assume that other people understand you without you sharing with them what's important and what's not important for you. So the second boundary is telling to someone, second boundary, it's a second example. Whenever someone is asking you to go to an event, to go to a birthday party, wedding, even like, why would I go to a wedding if someone is inviting me if I don't feel like going to a wedding? Of course, unless it's someone that is very close that I really care about. Like, you don't have to feel obligation to do anything that you feel uncomfortable about. And you can explain it. And if the person cares about you, they will understand you. Let's say if you're going through a really difficult time and someone is inviting you to a wedding, if this person really cares about you and you explain, hey, there are some stuff that are happening in my life. I'm really not in my best mood. I don't even want to spoil the atmosphere in your wedding. I would like to celebrate you and to celebrate this special moment with you when I'm feeling better. They will understand if they are an understandable person. If they are going to get mad, let them be mad. Don't care about it, because you don't need people that are not going to respect and understand you. So for me, it's very easy nowadays to just say no. Before, it was so difficult to say no. I was just saying yes to everything. The automatic response was yes all the time. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind is no, and then let me think about it. So the first example that I gave was not answering to messages immediately. This is a micro boundary that you can start setting if you're struggling with that. Second thing would be, whenever someone is inviting you to something or asking for help, just tell them, I need time to think about it. Let me check my schedule. Whatever. Learn these phrases so that whenever someone is going to ask you the question, your amygdala won't make you to fear it, but you can just say something that will buy you time so that you can check with yourself, is this something that I really want to do or not? If you know yourself really well, you will know immediately if this is something that you would like to do or not. So the more time that you spend with yourself, the more that you understand yourself, you will know faster the answer to whichever question comes to you. Another boundary, for example, I was struggling to set boundaries even with work before. From one side, I wanted to learn as much as possible. From the other side, it was just me being a people pleaser and helping everyone. Thinking that in the fixer, I'm more the fixer archetype rather than the people pleaser archetype. And they're very similar, but there is a small difference between a fixer archetype and a people pleaser archetype. But I'm not gonna get into this in this video. Another type of boundary is choosing silence or over explaining yourself. So sometimes you don't have to explain why you decide to do something. You don't own an explanation to anyone. For example, the wedding example that I gave before, if it's a friend of yours from childhood that is inviting you to a wedding, and something super sensitive has happened in your life. Let's say you broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe you don't feel that close to that person to share exactly what has happened. In this case, you don't need to over explain yourself. You don't need to worry about how this person might feel if I say no, and let me come up with thousands of lies so that I'm not gonna make them feel bad. People that lack boundaries, people that are people pleasers and thinking of other people's emotions more, they're afraid to be their authentic selves, and they tend to come up with a bunch of excuses and lies, not to hurt other people, but they're just making it harder for themselves when they do that. Another thing could be, let's say, when I'm in my luteal phase, I know that that's the time when I want to spend most time with myself alone. And it's completely fine to just say that you are not available for something because I don't want to talk about my luteal phase and cycle with anyone. You might just say, I'm just feeling a little bit more tired this period. I feel drained. I need extra time to recharge. I mean, personally, I reached the point of not feeling any kind of uncomfortable feeling to talk about anything, but I'm sharing for people that are still feeling uncomfortable, because it might not be in your comfort zone to talk about your cycle, which I think should be normal thing to talk about. Many, especially in male-dominated industries where men don't really understand how hormonal changes in women work, I think that we should talk about hormonal changes even more in male-dominated industries to make people, to help other people to understand what we're going through. Because how can we expect that other people are going to not know what we're going through when they're not like us? It's impossible. So we have to talk about everything. But we are the ones deciding how much we want to share and how much we don't want to share. So let me give you a step-by-step guide. First, spend time with yourself. As I said before, understand what are the things that you value the most, what are the things that are giving you energy, what are the things that are taking energy from you, what are the things that you don't want to compromise on an emotional level, material level, time-related, physical boundaries. And once you understand what are the things that you don't want to compromise, start scanning people that are crossing these boundaries and make scripts in your head how you're gonna shift it next time. And the way how our brain operates is there is something called neuroplasticity, and this is the ability of the brain to rewire itself, to rewire your old beliefs so that you can integrate new ones and you can make a change. And this rewiring is happening through repetition. So if you don't practice the scripts in your head that you have pre-planned to set boundaries towards your boss, towards your partner, towards whoever is crossing, towards your friend, whoever is crossing your boundaries, if you don't repeat them, don't expect that you're going to be able to change and you're going to be able to shift. You will have to consciously work with it, and after some time, it will become an autopilot response. But it takes a little bit of time. So have the scripts in mind, like the ones that I told you before. I need time to think about it. Let me check my schedule, or I'm not available right now, or I have other priorities at the moment. I'm gonna get back to you after X amount of time. And you don't have to have priorities. You might just need self-time. This is also a priority. Me time is my priority. So another way how you can practice to set boundaries in a way that will not cause conflict, so that you won't be that afraid of I know that there are many people that are afraid of conflicts, so you can practice to kind of disagree with the person, but in a very pleasant way. So, for example, you can say, I understand exactly how you feel, but this is my decision. And you don't have to over explain yourself, but you can show some form of compassion, you can show some form of understanding, exactly as the example that I gave before with a friend calling you. They're going through a breakup and they just want to bump all the emotions, all the negative thoughts, everything that has happened into you, and your brain might be completely fried, and this is the last thing that you need at that moment. You can feel free to say, I understand you're going through an emotional period, but I'm not ready to listen to you right now because I'm also having my personal issues. I hope you understand. That's it. You don't even have to say to them, let's talk about this tomorrow. No, you can just say, that's how I'm feeling, and that's it. And as I said, people will show resistance when you stop overgiving, especially narcissists. When you stop overgiving, it's normal for people to react. It's normal for people to notice your change. But their discomfort and their negativity and their rejection or the fact that they're going to resist you is not your problem. It's their own problem. As I said before, we're not responsible for other people's feelings. Everyone is responsible for their own feelings and for their own actions. So, and another thing that I wanted to mention is, if you don't notice change in people around you, know that you're not doing something right. Because when you start setting boundaries, you have to notice pushbacks from other people. So if you notice pushbacks, instead of telling to your brain, it's a sign of rejection, it's a sign of abandonment, instead of letting the brain to tell you like, oh, this is the fear that you experienced as a kid when your mom gave you the silent treatment, just think that this is the sign that I'm changing, and be happy for it, be grateful for it. And if you want to go deeper into practicing how to do that and rewiring the brain through neuroplasticity, you're more than welcome to join my community and to join my course, where I'm sharing a bunch of visualizations that will help you to rewire limiting beliefs. So the last thing that I would like to talk about before I finish with the stream is how the lack of boundaries is affecting your life and how your life will change once you start setting boundaries. So when you lack boundaries, people are controlling your life. People are controlling what you do, how you feel, and they absorb your energy. As I said before, if you lack boundaries related to time, people will take too much of your time, and you will not have time to spend time with yourself, to understand what is important for you, to rest, to meet your basic needs in order to have more self-awareness, to be able to analyze different situations that are making you feel in a certain way. So when you lack boundaries, don't expect to be able to feel good. Don't expect to be able to be in creation mode. You're always going to be in survival mode because you're going to feel overwhelmed all the time. You're going to feel resentment or anger because people are not respecting you. Why? Because you don't know how to show them that you have boundaries in place. You don't know how to teach them how to treat you, because you, first of all, you're not even treating yourself the way how other people want to treat you. So you should first start treating yourself the way how other people want to treat you. And if you see that people don't understand by actions, tell them with words. If they don't understand, just cut them off. As simple as that. Because you don't need people that are telling you that you're too much if you're setting boundaries, that you're too sensitive, that you don't have a sense of humor or anything like that. If something is important for you, your task is to share, this is important for me, I don't want you to do this again. And if they do it again, it's simply, those people are simply not your friends. They are not people that care about you and about your well-being. And no matter if it's your partner, no matter if it's your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, you should limit the time with them, cut them off, and protect yourself and protect your energy. Why? Because mastering to set boundaries will give you time. It will help you to raise your frequency. It will help you to start creating the life that you desire. Without having boundaries in place, you will never be able to create the life that you desire. You will never be able to do the things that you want to do because you will never gonna have time for them. And it's a key to personal growth, because if I didn't learn to set boundaries even with my family, they will all the time give me tasks and I will never have time to read self-help books. I will never have time to go to the gym. I'll never have time to go for walks. So you will have to, no matter how much you love a person, you have to love yourself more. Choose yourself first, love yourself the most. And once you love yourself the most and once you choose yourself first, you're not gonna just help yourself, you're gonna help the ones that you care about the most. Because once you set boundaries, you will have more time, you will have more emotional energy, mental energy, you will protect what is important for you so that you can then give it to the ones that deserve it and to the ones that are gonna give you back, instead of just over giving without receiving back. And with that, I'm gonna end this live stream here. I hope it was beneficial and helpful. Let me know in the comments what you're resonating with. If you want to go deeper into rewiring limiting beliefs, setting boundaries, understanding how our brain works so that we can react, we can understand when the amygdala is trying to stop us, to keep us in the same loop over and over again, make sure to check the link in the description. And you're more than welcome to join my community. And with that being said, let me also know what kind of topics do you want me to cover in future live streams. And that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Pradip. It's so cool to see you here always. Take care, and I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.